Welcome to the Avery Jones podcast. That's my cousin. Oh man, we don't get the official podcast anyway.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we live, baby. Yeah, welcome to the Avery Jones podcast. I am your host, Avery Jones. And if you haven't already, because I got some notes, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, especially Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because of course I said so, and you want to support me and you love me. Okay, so let's get some formalities out the way, because I want to get these out the way so I can go ahead and introduce my very, very, very special guest. We working around here, man. You know what time it is. So I already said make sure you subscribe to my podcast. Make sure you check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you follow my brand page. That's _ Call Me Jones for all of my booking details, as well as modeling pictures, podcast information. All that is housed under one unit. I'm going to get a Twitter, so charge it to my head, not to my heart. Give me some time. The YouTube channel is coming soon. People in YouTube land can see me as well, so that's something, and that's under construction as of right now. So once again, give me some time. Got a lot on my plate. Also, the email subscription list is coming very, 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 very soon. So anybody that's giving me their email subscription or their email address, the subscription list is coming very soon. So anything that is podcast related or merch that I put out, you can basically be able to be the first ones to know about it. So thank you so much for giving me your email already. So now that I got all that stuff out the way, that was a breathful. I can go ahead and I can go ahead and get my introduction out the way. So I want to give this man a proper introduction because it took me a while to get him. I had to buy him wine. I had to pick him up from his house. I had to treat him like a celebrity. So So this man I've known my entire life, and I've known him my entire life, and he's known me my entire life. Just about he's grown and evolved as a man, and I can honestly say I am very, very proud of the man that not only he has become, but is becoming. Ladies and gentlemen, my cousin Chris.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Appreciate that.
I got you.
Definitely appreciate it. Or brother Elon.
Brother Elon, that's where we at now. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I sat in a barbershop at 11 something this morning making this episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The introduction and everything? The
introduction, the writing, the notes out, the questions that I wanted to ask you. And
I feel special.
Yeah, you should.
I feel special. And
so it's crazy because people pay attention to you a lot more than what you think they do. So, yeah.
So I've been told.
Exactly. So I feel like me personally, I paid attention through your life. And so these conversations could stem from or go anywhere, but I literally picked 3 sections of your life. Matter of fact, one of them titled Berwick.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I remember anything from that time.
And then I think another one I entitled The Downtown Bandit. And the last one I entitled The Enlightenment.
Not The Downtown Bandit.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So I do little segments on my podcast, right? Okay. And so let's start there to kind of get the jitters out the way. You're gonna get a lot of this on this podcast. A lot of random laughing. So who you listening to right now? Like, I know you don't listen to like new age music, but who you listening to?
That's tough, man.
And it doesn't have to be like new wave.
Yeah. You know, I'll be straightforward. And I've been listening to a lot of R&B, man.
I heard. Yo, we rode. He took me to get my car, and
R&B the whole way.
It was the entire time. I'm like
90s, like the 90s.
I'm like, bro, you going through something?
Yeah, but no. You know, yeah, but no. It's just more so. I've been feeling in love.
Bro, you almost made me spit my wine out. All over the soundboard.
And nothing really, quantifies how much you love more than like 90s R&B. You know what I'm saying?
We were saying that on
like
the way.
The old Tyrese.
Right. He said the sounds of love make it. Bro, that's crazy.
But really, that 90s R&B really been on a. I don't know if it's reggae. I don't know if it's actually actually is reggae or not. But the dude, the guy Burna Boy from Nigeria.
It's crazy because I was meaning to ask you like who that was.
Yeah, a guy from Nigeria. If I remember correctly, it's a guy from Nigeria. But he just makes good music. He makes a lot of music with if I'm not mistaken, like artists from the UK and outside of obviously his own music. But I have to like look up some of the lyrics.
Right.
But other than that, the beat is good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a good it's just a good vibe and really that. Excuse me. But other than that, I really like the guy Leon Bridges. I think I've told you about a couple songs that I think you should try out. But man, just a lot of smooth music.
You're a smooth guy. See, that's
smooth music.
Tell the people how I treat my guests.
What do you mean? I'm not sure I follow. I'm not sure I follow.
So, okay, we didn't drink a couple glasses of wine.
Oh yeah,
right. I provided that.
Yeah.
So tell people how good of a host I am, so they'll be a guest. Bro, it's so hard to get guests.
Shout out to my man, very good host, bought me wine.
I'll pick you up.
Yeah, picked me up because he knew I was already drinking. Got here some more wine to drink. It could have been a little colder though. I'm just saying,
We get ice for.
I don't really like ice in my wine though. I like it to be already on chill,
On chill. Now mind you,
like
listen where we at. we in my room at my grandmother's house. Our grandmother's house.
Our, yeah.
Right.
But they don't know I'm your cousin. You left all of that out.
No, I did tell him you were my cousin. I said my cousin Chris.
Oh, okay. You're like, who is this A-Rap? And this is not your cousin.
Mind you, right. People not going to believe me when I say because it's funny because I see you walking outside.
My dad is his uncle.
Right. Black as shit.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Shaw Diamond.
Bro, it's crazy because I'm going to send him this video directly.
He gonna trip, he gonna call me, he gonna blow my phone.
Right.
He's like, is that my son?
That's how his dad talks. That's how his dad talks.
You know who he talks like?
Who?
The dude at the gym. That's friends with your boy. I don't want to say any names.
The dude that's friends with my... I know he's...
Don't he though?
And he's just
that's that nigga
dark skin. He looking like... Greatest guest ever, man.
Oh man.
But
we talk about Corona.
Bro. It's literally what this podcast gonna be about
Corona. I only know like one thing about it.
It's
deadly.
It's fatal.
Exactly.
It's funny because
it's in America, but it isn't.
Bro, the only thing that's like really hyping this thing up is the fact that it's the media that's hyping it up. I don't think, like doctors have said, it's not as serious. He was like, you basically wash your hands, like taking all the precautionary measures that you usually take.
Right.
That's Biggie Smalls.
And Boo.
And Boo. AJ Styles.
I was tripping off of Boo with the Supreme bandana.
Yeah, shout out to...
And tattoos. I never noticed he had tattoos in the show.
Guess who made that?
AJ.
Yeah.
Wow.
He made that one and that one.
Is that a picture that he drew or painted?
He did it like digitally on his iPad.
Wow.
Yep. And then that Biggie he did too with the Coochie sweater.
Wow, yo. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Say something about Gil stuff.
That's Gil's? The
Yeah,
AJ
that's
Styles?
Gil's. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing too.
Yeah, they're pretty
We did that digitally?
Yeah. We did it on the computer.
Yo, what's up with this, yo? People don't draw anymore? It's all digital.
It's all digital, man.
But no, really though, that the Boo is really, you know,
creative.
I've seen something similar to that prior. I don't know if I've necessarily seen it digitally like that, but the Boo, yo,
That's original, man.
original.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, man. And
I
then
like it. That's the Supreme Louis V joint.
gotta have the what you call it, the Holland Springs, do the Coaches Award.
Oh yeah, you might have to bleep that out. No, I'm joking.
Copyright.
Hey, Rico County.
Rico County
Sue you.
Right? Exactly. They need all the money they can get, bro. I'm telling you. Some cold air just came in. Like, just cool down.
I need to.
But yeah, so we talked about Corona and how it's hyped up by the media. We don't really know much about it. So I was told on my podcast, don't speak about things that you haven't done your research on. Yo, people was
maybe that's you. I'm a guest. I can talk about that. I want to talk about.
You're right. Stick it away.
But really, people told you that?
Yeah, because we were talking about the whole Kobe
These
Bryant
podcast experts.
People look at my podcast.
But I'm saying these experts, like these people have podcasts.
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel
we talking about just people then.
Yeah, just people, and I feel like we were talking about. They had some very valid points, and so we were talking about the Dwayne Wade and that thing, that whole finale, and how I have to be sensitive to the community itself, and why I should be sensitive. And
He does not have to be sensitive.
you heard it from my guest. I ain't saying.
I don't think you should because of this right here. In every facet of life nowadays, everything has an opinion.
Okay.
Every facet of life, at least nowadays, has or is dominated by opinion. And so, the thing about it for me is, this is just me personally. We had this conversation prior.
Right.
I feel like in order to, or the purpose of having a podcast, and I could be wrong. You know, people that watch it, feel free to let me know if I am wrong.
Yep.
But I feel like the point of this is to state your opinion.
You right.
I mean, I could be wrong.
No.
But, excuse me. But the point of this, excuse me, is to state your opinion to a degree, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily more so just about the guest.
Exactly.
This is, the Avery Jones podcast for a reason.
Yep.
It's Avery, how Avery feels.
It is how Avery feels.
So, that being said, I feel like you should be able to state whatever your opinion is. People do it outside of podcasts. So because you have a podcast, you just can't do it now.
It's not, I don't think it's like I can't do it. It's more so, especially in it. The only reason I can say, I can say that the points that they have are valid is because of how they were stated. It's just not, it
like
wasn't
what?
like,
I mean, I
don't
don't have to be too specific, but give me a...
Right, no, like like for example, one female was like, okay, the difference between sexuality and gender are two different things. And so, just because someone desires to be a specific gender doesn't mean they want to change, or doesn't mean they're attracted to the opposite sex in which the gender they want to change as. So, if a boy wants to be transgender...
That's confusing.
Right?
That's very confusing. I don't understand that.
And then, so because it's a new thing, it's not... Being transgender and being, the LGBT community isn't a new thing. Mm-hmm. It's just like people in our generation are so sensitive to everything these days, and we're extra sensitive to things that were already a sensitive topic to begin with. So it's just like, oh, don't say that. Oh, don't say this. Oh, don't say that. And then technically, I don't know. Like, mind you, my mother's bisexual.
Right.
So, like I said, if the opinion was given to me in a negative way, like, oh, you shouldn't do that, honestly, I'm gonna talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about.
Right.
But because of how it was presented to me, I was just like, okay. And I'm not saying that, like, it's not what I was saying was wrong. It was just kind of like, hey, you know, kind of constructive criticism.
But I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. I don't understand what that means. Like, actually what that means. Like, whoever this lady is, or this young woman, or, you know, woman in general, what does that mean?
What does what mean?
This statement of whatever gender you identify as is separate from your sexuality. Is that what you said?
Right. And so
basically, what does that mean?
Basically, what she was talking about is like, okay, you're like, say for example, Dwayne Wade's son. Mm-hmm. Say he gets older, decides to become a woman. Mm-hmm. Right.
Which he's already decided at 12.
At 12.
Okay. Just go ahead.
Right, exactly.
I just want to throw that out.
So at 12, he decided that this is what he wants to do. Decides to, you know, becomes a woman. Mm-hmm. Just because he is a woman doesn't mean that he per se likes men now. Is what we're saying.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
What the hell are we doing?
Mind you, this isn't the initial conversation.
What are we doing?
And so it's like, gender,
okay, because I get it to a degree, because if he decides to be a woman,
that doesn't necessarily mean
he could like women still.
Exactly. But just because he's a man, just because he's a man, like for example, just because a man is a man doesn't mean he has to like women. Just because a woman is a woman doesn't mean she has to like a man. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
So basically, the point that she was making is this particular young man feels as though woman does not feel comfortable as a man and wishes to identify as a woman.
So does he like women or men?
You don't know at 12.
So how do you know that that you want to be the opposite sex if you can't definitively say?
And I'm not saying, but once again, I haven't done a whole bunch of research on the actual subject.
Well, from what I understand, I'm just a guess.
Right. You can say what you I can say whatever the hell I want. Yeah. This is the Avery Jones podcast.
Huh?
What?
So, the way I understand it is, though, this is a young man.
Right.
A young boy. Let's just say that. A young boy who have decided that he should have been born a girl.
Right. He feels in his spirit and his soul
that he should be a female.
Yes.
Yet God has made him a man.
This is true. And this is the portion that we talked in, you know, we're going to talk
about
if you believe
in God.
In your journey.
In my journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say that this young man or this young transgender,
right,
if that's okay to say, or this young, I think he's confused. This young confused person,
right,
has the mental capacity to say, I believe I should be a female or a woman or a lady or a young girl, but cannot say I like boys or girls.
Right, because
that doesn't make sense.
That's sexualizing that young man or woman, or sexualizing that young lady or girl.
But I mean, we could really be very, lack of better words, anal with this. But in order for you to say, I feel like I should be born, or I feel like I am opposite sex than I was born, is already getting to a sexualized conversation.
Right. Well,
because it all has to do with sexuality.
I think at the basis of it, it's this young man that wants to become a young woman, and that's what it is. And then what the young lady that was telling me is that like a lot of people are sexualizing it as in like, you know, like even Lil Boosie was just like, oh, you know, don't cut his dick off, and I'm not sure. I'm not even. I don't. I don't have the basis behind it.
No, that's what he said. I seen
it. And so it was just like. And then people are like, you know, he haven't even had sex yet, and he doesn't know what it feels like. But once again, it's a matter of being spiritually.
No, I was saying in the sense of like, you know, he doesn't know what it feels like, but it's like, okay, I don't really agree with that statement of he doesn't know what it feels like because he doesn't know which one feels like.
Exactly.
I don't understand. I'm still so confused.
And it's a very confusing topic. And that's like how I feel about it.
My thing is this. If you're Dwayne Wade, I don't find trouble in the man or the boy, the 12-year-old.
Right.
I find trouble in
just
the father.
How are you raising your son?
I find trouble in the father. And not even the mother to a degree, but the father. Because I understand the acceptance of, okay, my son's gay. I get that.
Right.
I don't have a son, but to a degree, I get where you would be to the point where you accept it, you know, right. and like many people do in everyday life, you know, we have to accept things. So I can understand where Dwayne Wade would say, "Well, I'm at peace with it. I accept it." My young son wants to be called a woman's name. He likes his nails being done. He likes wearing very tight clothing. You know,
right.
He wants to identify as a woman. He likes women's things like makeup. And I get that. That's the acceptance. But the point of it all, or where it crosses the line, my line,
right?
You just say that. Where it bothers me is the point of, well, I'm gonna help him pursue this to a further extent at the age of 12. I'm almost gonna think for him,
right? Because that's understandable.
Because it's hard for me to believe that a 12-year-old would say, "Dad, I want to cut my dick off."
Lil Boosie said that.
I find it hard to believe that a 12-year-old boy would say, "Dad, I want to cut my dick off." I mean, think about that now. 12, not 15,
right?
Not 14,
right?
12. Dad, I want to cut my dick off. Mom, I want to change this into what a woman has.
That, I can see where you're going with that. That would be very hard to believe.
That's hard for me to...
And I would say, like, listen, son, you don't
understand. Yeah, you don't understand.
Right. It is not even about experiencing, like, it's not even about experiencing sex. Right.
But you don't even know yourself yet.
You don't know yourself.
You don't know yourself.
You haven't learned to appreciate who you are right now. If that's something that you want to, I wouldn't allow my child. Once again, I don't have kids, but it's just like I wouldn't allow my child.
Yeah.
To even, mind you, you can say that all you want to. I'm not funding it, and you can't fund it yourself at 12.
You can't.
So it's like you can think this all you want to, and then the thing about it is, okay, I accept you for who you are, but I'm not funding this until you are solid on that decision.
And this is where the problem really lies with me and with people. And just say this: where's the line between? How do I say this? Where's the line between choice and persuadance? I say that, and that's a very weird statement, but in the sense of this, at what point is it this young man's choice or his parents' input in persuading him to do something different. Because the way this seems to me is...
We don't know what happens in that household.
We don't know what happens. But the way it seems to me is he's being pushed in a direction. Like I said, we don't know what happens.
Right.
I have no idea. Don't know what this young boy was like growing up. None of that. Don't know what it was like to raise this young boy. But at the same time, there's an overwhelming illusion almost, or an overwhelming shadow of it feels like this is being pushed.
Right.
Versus it being natural. I've known plenty of gay people.
Right.
Went to school with them, you know. I can almost definitively say, I don't know any gay people personally, but I can almost definitively say that, or bisexual people or homosexual people, that at 12 years old, none of them felt like I need to cut my dick off, or I need to have a dick if they're a female.
Right.
So I don't understand, and I feel like there's more persuadance versus choice. Let me just say that. Feels like an agenda. How about that?
The whole world is an agenda.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
this feels like a big one.
Right.
I mean, D-Wade, we look up to you, bro. Come on.
Right.
Really?
This is true. But once again, you know, me and Jay went on that, and I don't feel like it's not a ending conversation until we get to the bottom, or until his son comes out and speaks. I just hope that he gives his son an opportunity to experience and embrace who he is and himself, because like we were discussing, a lot of people that make that change sometimes regret it. So I just hope that he allows him to realize that once that happens, there's no going back. So you know, that's something.
It's such a gift to be a man.
Such a gift, you know.
It really is, though.
Right.
And that's the more sad part about it. It's a gift. Because
I change my mind every 3 seconds, and I'm a 26-year-old man.
Right.
So I can only imagine the mind of a 12-year-old.
About such an important topic.
And such an important topic. But that's one thing I'm solidified on is, once again, I won't, and then this is the nail that hit me, especially because I won't know what could possibly go on in that young man's head. Or the young woman's head, the household in general, because I've never felt that way. You know, I've never I want to be a woman. I never felt that way. Right. So we don't know, and here's the sensitive part about it: we don't know how that particular person feels. So therefore, it's just like But I just find it hard to believe, like you were saying before, that a 12-year-old wants to make this decision.
Yeah,
but
that's tough.
You know,
that's tough for me to come to grips with. If this 12-year-old was able to definitively say out of his own mouth, "This is what I want to do," and I didn't have to hear it from D-Wade, even in that, I would be skeptical, but I would still almost give it more, I guess, authenticity versus hearing it from someone other than the young man.
Right.
I guess sense. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
That's tough, yo. Right. I was just saying, D-Wade, we looked up to you. I don't know. What happened, bro?
What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
were you not there?
He's on the road a lot.
Was he not there?
Who knows? I'm not sure. And
apparently he's there now. He's there now when the boy wants to be transgender. You know, like, what happened?
It could be guilt.
I digress.
Exactly.
Tease their own.
Live and let live.
I guess. That's tough, bro.
I guess, exactly.
That's
but,
tough.
Well, given the fact that's a heck of an intro, given the fact that that's that, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, mystery man?
Nah, I'd like to remain a mystery.
He's just like, hey, I don't agree with this. It's just like, who are you? You'll never know.
Yeah, I don't, you know. There's really no intro. I'm this guy's cousin.
Right. There you go. No, people about to learn about you now.
Yeah, I'm nobody important, you know.
I feel like you're important.
Just another, well, I appreciate that. You're important too. Just another brother with an opinion. This is what I'm here for.
Right, exactly.
State my opinion.
I wanted your opinion because I knew it was going to be like that. So, 3 segments we're going to touch on.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
3 segments. So, when, I wouldn't say, like, when we became young adults, from what I remember, you lived in Berwick. Berwick is a townhouse complex in Chesterfield, right? And so I thought about certain things, jotted down some questions, thought about another section, jotted down some questions. And so because that took a lot longer than expected.
Yeah.
Right. We gonna get into this thing. So let's talk about your stepdad.
Excuse me. Okay.
Because that's literally the first time I interacted with him.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you feel like how much of influence has he been in your life?
The biggest influence in my life. I can say that pretty definitively. And it's funny actually. I was just talking to him earlier tonight. Excuse me. About, I was just letting him know, how much I appreciate him. Him and my mother actually. That's
good.
And for her allowing him to be that father figure in my life, to show me, what it is that, to the best of his knowledge, what a father figure was supposed to be.
Right.
The head of the household, the protector, the end all be all to a degree. And big role, man. Played a big role. I don't know exactly where I would be without without him stepping into, take on that task, because I do believe it was a task that at some point him and any other father who decided to be a stepfather or decided to help raise this young man or woman, that was conceived or that was had outside of that current relationship. You have to eventually say to yourself, okay, I take on this responsibility.
Right.
So I do believe it is one that is trying to a degree, and I can see that not with myself but with some of my siblings firsthand, how some efforts kind of go unnoticed.
Right.
Exactly. Everybody's different, but I was just letting him know earlier. I appreciate that.
Right.
I don't think I would be where I am today without that. That's for sure. And I appreciate even my mother for allowing him, because, some mothers really coddle their sons.
Right.
And even their daughters, especially when it comes to step parents, as far as like, I don't necessarily I want you to be involved, but I don't want you to discipline. And
right, exactly.
It's like
restriction.
It's a fine line when it comes to stuff like that. But
right.
She was very, very understanding, and for my situation personally, it was a good thing that he was there, and everything he did was for the better. I can't say that, and I wouldn't be the man I am today without him. Good, bad, or indifferent. I would love to have my biological father in the picture, but for whatever reasons, and good, bad, or indifferent, he wasn't. But I was blessed with somebody else to take on that responsibility, who I would assume did a pretty good job.
Right. He did a fantastic job.
I appreciate him for that.
Right. Just growing up and seeing how y'all interacted, you definitely take on a favor of him as well.
Yeah.
Not just by look.
It's crazy, right?
Right, exactly. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Right. And it's crazy because
how you could look like two people.
Exactly.
Act like two people.
Act like two people. That's exactly what I was about to say.
But be your own person at the same time.
Be your own man.
It's amazing. Yeah. Because it's like characteristics, and I even see them in myself, that my biological father have passed on to me, and mannerisms that I have.
Right.
That are so, and being, starting to get to know him again now.
Right.
Starting to realize, like, wow,
I
actually am a lot like him.
Right.
but at the same time, it's the mindset that my stepfather gave me. So I have the person that I was biologically made to be from that seed of my father. Now with the mindset, because you can train your mind, you know what I'm saying, to be a certain way.
Exactly.
But those mannerisms, those behaviors, you see what I'm saying, are something that you're born with.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so it's really just taking the two. It's the two, literally.
Right.
Act a lot like my stepfather. But at the same time, genetically, I am my biological father.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's absolutely amazing.
Your whole story to me is amazing, honestly. If you feel like and you know, I know you're not like too deep into music, you know what I'm saying? But like if you had to choose a song to describe that particular portion of your life, what would you say?
That portion?
That portion. Because if coming in my podcast, that's the hot seat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the hot seat. So
the song by J. Cole where he's talking about like him having sex with a girl, the video is like two puppies.
Yeah.
And you know, he's like,
I've never seen the video. I think I know what song you're talking about.
Where he's like writing to the female and it's like, you know, there's passing notes in class and
oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, you know, the girl's like,
I've never been this before. Yeah.
I feel like that would be that point in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. We're gonna talking about stepdads and biological fathers. Hey, listen, this is the.
But really though, you know,
this is the first time I realized I had the juice.
The juice. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. But that would be. That would be the aspect of my life. That would be that, you know, really like. Ironically, how we started this, really like experiencing my sexuality,
right?
And like, wow, women are great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this is awesome. You know, the same thing that any young man goes through. You know, your first piece. As my stepdad is saying, it's your first piece. You know what I'm saying? But so I guess that would more so be the how I would articulate that into song would be like really like, okay, you know,
there you go.
Like you know, that would be it. Like,
right.
That's my first piece. Like, you know, I don't know. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Exactly. I think this is
without going into any too much further detail.
Right. Exactly. He was like, I've been over this way and then I did this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is a good breaking point. So before we do break and you get a word from our sponsor, the next topic I want to go into is there's a certain instance or certain thing that happened in Berwick that I want to share with people because it could help someone, and I feel like that was a turning point for you.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after the break. So here's a break and a word from our sponsor. Secretly, it's me giving an ad for Anchor. So listen to that.